All right, so first page that you find is a tutorial where you find suggested steps for decision making. And then next one is the market outlook, and here on the market outlook page you find information about what is happening in the operating environment. So it is very important that you read this whenever you are starting a new round. In this particular simulation you are operating a small family hotel which is in seasonal environment, so you have winter seasons and summer seasons following one another. Currently we have our operations only in the domestic market, but we have the option to expand internationally if we want to. And this chart here gives you indication about how the demand is developing over the foreseeable semesters or seasons. So the first season that we are meeting here is the winter season, and here we can see that this is about the estimated demand for the winter season per team. Then for the summer season it's this much, and then the following winter it's about this much, and then the blue bar shows what is the expected average demand per team for the international market. But as said, we don't have any operation in the international market yet, and we don't have to go international if we don't want to, but we can as an option. Now we go to sales page, and here on the sales page we start making actual decisions. So now we sell the room capacity to our guests directly, which is done here in this box. So basically we give a price, and then the customers come or they don't come. Here we make the estimation about how many nights we expect to sell during the round. And now keep in mind that you are not competing against the computer, but you are competing against the other team. So whatever your team is deciding has an impact to the competitor, and vice versa. So if we set the room price here for 105 and our competitor sets the price at 80, then the customer is more inclined to be as a guest in the competitor's establishment. Price is not the only factor. We also influence the demand by these marketing efforts. So in this cell here we can decide what is the marketing budget for the round, and then in addition the customer is also looking at the service level, and once we come to the operations page we will be talking about the service level a bit more. But as a summary, at the time of the deadline the computer or the system is comparing the different teams' decisions regarding price, marketing and service level, and then calculating the demand accordingly. Okay, so besides the direct sales we also have advanced sales, and that we decide here. So we are able to sell capacity also to the following season, which is summer season, and then 2 seasons ahead, which is again a winter season. And here we do the decision by deciding how many room nights we want to sell. So now if I say that I want to sell 2,000 room nights, then I'm going to be getting this kind of price quotation from the channel saying that if you want to sell this much, then this is the amount that they are willing to pay per night. And then if I try to increase the amount, then the price will drop, and vice versa. And then for the 2 rounds ahead, the logic is exactly the same. We decide how many we want to pay. In some cases, if we try to sell too much, the channel may tell us that, okay, you're not going to be able to sell that much. All right, we leave that 3,000 here, we have 105 here, and now we make this estimation. When we make the estimation about the sales for this season, it's useful to look at this column here on the right, because here in this column we are able to see what amount of sales we had actually in the winter before. We can also see the pricing here, but then this one is important. So this is how much we sold during the previous winter 1,417, and now for some reason our estimation is 4,000, which is not going to happen. We are not going to be able to increase the demand by this much, because in the market outlook it says that the overall demand is growing between 5 and 8%, so we are not going to be able to multiply our demand. So let's be a little bit more reasonable here. Let me put 1,550. Okay. So now I have updated my sales estimation. Then when I scroll down, I'm able to see what kind of profitability I'm expecting. So again, on the right hand side, I can see exactly what my result was in the previous winter, and now for this winter I can see my budget or my pro forma statement, which shows that okay, the profitability is on the increase if my sales estimations are correct. Now, I don't know actually how much I'm going to be selling. It might be that my competitors are much more aggressive and they cut the prices or do some other activities, and then I'm only going to be able to sell 1,000 nights. So let's put 1,000 nights here, and then we see that the profit is not going to be 145, but it's going to be 91,000. So keep in mind, when you make these decisions and estimations, then these are only your estimations. The actual results will be calculated at the time of the deadline. Now the international market is here, and at the moment there's nothing happening in the international market. We have the option to start expanding to the international market if we want, but before we are able to do that, then we must actually start the operation for the international market, and that then requires us to invest in the hotel facilities. So we can either rent them or we can have our own hotel facilities. And this is one decision that need to make, whether we rent or buy, and then we decide what is the capacity overall. Once we have done this, then we already announced to the market we are starting our own hotel in the market, and next round is going to be available. So there is 1 period delay in these capacity investments, but for the next round we are able to start doing the pre-sales if we want. So earlier we looked at the sales page for the international, then we would be able to do some pre-sales already for next round if we like. But as I said before, you don't have to start the international market in the beginning, or basically ever, if you don't want to. Okay, back to operations. So here now on the operations page, we are now in the domestic market where we have established operations. We can see that our hotel has 50 rooms, and then that gives us a total capacity of 9,000 nights per season. And this is basically 180 nights per 6-month period multiplied by 50, so the total number of nights available is 9,000. We are able to expand our existing facilities if we want by doing this. I don't do that now. Then we invest in maintenance and renovation, and this is one factor influencing the service level or the quality of the service. So if we invest more, then it's going to be a nicer hotel, and if we invest less, it's going to be less nice. And then we can also invest in cost savings. So there's 2 types of cost savings. One of them is influencing our variable costs, and the other one is influencing our administration costs. So this is up to you to decide how much you want to invest in the cost savings. So the principle is to spend money to save money. And now on the right hand side of this page is then about staffing and personnel, and this is a very, very important part of the overall decision making process, because in this kind of seasonal environment you have high seasons, low seasons, and you need to be able to manage your employees in such a way that you are able to keep the profitability at a satisfactory level. So you have permanent employees and then you have temporary employees, and then whenever you change the permanent employees, you have costs. So if you lay off permanent employees, you have layoff costs, and then if you are adding permanent employees, then you have hiring costs. So keep an eye on this. The decision that you make is then the amount of the personnel. Here you can see how many you had in the previous round. Then you decide how many you want to have this round. Then we have the salary decision here, including the employer costs, and then we have the estimation about the competence level. So we can influence the competence of our staff by investing in training, and here we can then make an estimation if we expect that to increase. Besides the permanent employees, we have the temporary employees, and then this we can freely change from one round to another as much as we want to. Here on the top we have this dial which is showing the personal stress level, and now this is looking at the amount of guests relative to the amount of staff. So now if I start cutting back on my permanent employees, instead of 4 I would only have 2. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's a lot of stress, it seems. So now the workload is becoming very heavy for our staff, so then it shows as a high level of stress for the employees, which leads then to higher personnel turnover and then also client dissatisfaction. So I need to try to keep this at a moderate level. It doesn't have to be green all the time, but also like red for an extended period would be trouble. All right, so now we have looked at the sales and we have looked at the operations. Now we have only one page left, which is finance. And on the finance page, we then decide about the loans. So here we can see the cash flow, where the money is coming, where it's going. And then if we need, we can increase loans, or we can pay off existing loans. Here we can see what is the amount of long-term loans that we have in the business at the moment. So if we start generating cash surplus, we should consider paying off the loans. There's also one more figure here, which is the credit term. This has very, very small impact on the overall outcomes in the simulation. So you can or if you want, but you don't have to do anything about this decision. Basically, this is just deciding what is the term of payment that we give to our channels for paying their bills. Channels in this case meaning the travel agencies. We have this projections tab here as well, which is also very useful to look at every now and then, because here we can see the entire income statement. We see the actual figures for the previous winter, and then we can see the figures for this winter, which are the budgeted figures. So again, we don't know if this is going to happen, but it depends on the competitors. But whenever we make any changes throughout these pages, we can see how those changes reflect on the bottom line and on the P&L. Then we also have the balance sheet, where we are able to see our balance sheet. Now I'm going to close this box. And then last page is the decision checklist. We don't make any decisions here, but this is a very, very good page, because here we can see what my other team members have done. Obviously, if you are in your team alone, then you will not see anything else but this one individual. But typically there are more than one team members, so we are able to see side by side what each of the team members have done. And then together as a team, we will decide which decisions we want to submit as a team. So in this case, I have been making decisions as CESIM player. So I decide that now I will do and copy these decisions as the team decisions. I click here like this and say yes. Do you want to save? I say yes. All right. So now I have moved all the decisions from this column to this column, and then at the time of the deadline, the system will collect the decisions from this column and use them to calculate the results for the team. I can also step into the team area if I want to. So if together with the team members we have decided that okay, we take CESIM player decisions, but we want to change something, then we can click this go, and then I can make changes here, and those will be then automatically reflected under the team column. It's also possible to import decisions from another team member if you want. So as I said, since CESIM player is my own identity, then if I click import here, then I would import Leonard's decisions to my own column or anybody else's. Now we have done the decisions, we have copied them over to the team column, and now then we would wait for the deadline, and then at the time of the deadline the system calculates the results and they become available here. So we always show the results side by side for all the teams. We have financial statements, income statement, balance sheet. Then we have the market report where we are able to see the pricing decisions and sales figures for the different teams. Then we have the operations report where we can see the capacities and possible future capacity increases, and both market report and operations report is available separately for the domestic and international. Then we have the cash flows, again side by side, and then we have different financial ratios. And here in this drop down, if we play with multiple universes, we can see the results for the different universes, and then we can go back and forth to different rounds if we want to. By clicking this XLS link here, we can download the results as an Excel file. With the print, we can print if we have to, and then there are some slides that we can open here as well. Alright, so this concludes our walkthrough of the participant interface. Thank you for watching and enjoy CESIM service simulation. Bye for now.